This is Command Sergeant Major Ralph G. King. It's November 8th, 2013, Cutter Morning Star School, and we're in Ms. Juicy's Gifted and Talented Classroom.
Did you enlist or were you drafted into the war?
Well, I really enlisted, but they give me a draft number. So there's a story behind that too, you know. I was in high school, graduated midterm. We was turning 18 and going to have to go probably in 6 months or so after school got out in June. But this was in January of '43. And so they signed us up and took us down. So we've got a draftee number. But we really, to get out of school, we took off and wanted to get into service. Our mentality then was to get in there, you know, get a rifle and go after Tojo and Hitler and get this war over with. You know, we was different at that time. You know, after they bombed Pearl Harbor in December 7th of 1941. And so this was up in, of course this was not till '43, so we were still in school when that happened.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any special training?
The training I got, that was another example of the way the military does. They sent us down to classify us, and, well, what did you do, you know? Well, what has any high school kid done? We went up to North Dakota one summer and run the tractor on the combine and worked the wheat fields. And so right away they signed us the Armored Force. And so we went down to Fort Knox, Kentucky, and took 13 weeks of Armored Force training, driving M1, medium and light tanks. So that's, after I got out of there, then they signed me to a tank battalion at Fort Camel. And it was Camp MaCall, there was no fort. And I was there and didn't care to be driving one of them tanks like that. I thought there was a death trap. I seen a paratrooper walk by, and I said, I think I'd rather be jumping out of an airplane than being in this tank. So I signed up for the Airborne.
Were you awarded any medals or citations?
Well, the normal thing, the medals, after I took the training and went over as a replacement to the 101st Airborne Division, I got there on the D-Day, the same day they jumped in Normandy, and when they come back from Normandy, they signed me out, and I ended up in the 506 Parachute Infantry Regiment, H Company. So then I got to jump in Holland. So the medals, of course, I got wounded there, so I got my first Purple Heart there in Holland. And of course the European ribbon, they give me credit for Normandy, but I never was in Normandy. But I got the 4 bronze stars for the Europe and across there, which they had 4 different campaigns, and also the arrowhead for jumping into Holland. In September they took us to Marshing area, and we suited us up, and we made that on the 17th of September of '44. We jumped into Holland.
Where and when were you born?
I was born 15 August of 1924.
Which wars did you serve in?
Well, I served there in these 3 years that I had in after World War II. I had 3 years in. I come back and got discharged, and I was out for 15 days and re-enlisted. But my folks, he'd come to Indiana and Gary, and that's where I joined my family. And there was no jobs to be done. All the factories were retooling from making war materials, and of course they wanted me to go to school, which would have been the right thing to do, but I didn't want to go. I just felt like it. I didn't care for school at that time, didn't want to go back in. So I re-enlisted and went back in, and then I went back overseas to a unit that was left there at Frankfurt, Germany. That was Eisenhower's headquarters. And we stayed there then at the end of '46, and according to one of the Yalta Conference, we were supposed to be off, all shock-type troops were supposed to be off the continent of Europe by the end of the year. So by November, they started bringing us back, and then I would come back to the 82nd down back at Fort Bragg. And I stayed there then for almost 5 years, until the Korean War broke out in 1950.